What's up, Roulette?
What's up, man?
Man, I'm super stoked to have you here.
I'm stoked to be here, bro. This is great.
What's been up, man? What's going on?
Oh man, everything, life, music has been real. I've been doing a lot of stuff that has to do with community, giving back, and being a positive force. That is like my thing now, and so like I've always been a positive person, so being positive has not been like anything new, but I finally am in a space where I've taken like my positive tone, my positive message, and put that into my music, and now it's like just an all around thing. So,
Right.
yeah,
Right. It's like coming together.
yeah.
So, just because you're here in this space with us, right? We're getting you out here. We're kind of getting the word out a little bit about who Roulette Delgato is.
Yeah.
So just kind of like give us like a brief idea of who Roulette Delgato is and like where that comes from.
So obviously, like I've done a bunch of shows where I like told my story and share my life experiences, being born in prison, being in foster care in 4 different high schools, being bullied, suicidal, being dealing with drugs and stuff like that, and that made me an angry person, and I had really my skin wasn't that thick, and so like I was very sensitive for a long time, very emotional, and I think that it came to a point where I had to figure out exactly where I was going and what I was doing in my life, and I think the biggest part of that was coming out. And when I did come out of the closet, that changed my whole perspective on life and exactly what I was doing and how I should be living. Excuse me. And so,
I try to cut you off really quick there. So Roulette Delgato, though, is like is your stage name, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And we'll keep your personal name private.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Roulette Delgato is your stage name.
Yeah.
And with that stage name, what do you do? How do you perform? Because maybe some people listening might not have. We're kind of picking up on those nuances.
Yeah.
But let's share thinking that nobody's ever met you, and they're curious. So what do you do with that name?
So, it depends on what show you catch me at. So I'll do a show where it's like a rap show, lots of energy. You'll hear me scream Delgato, or you hear it on the backtrack because that's my tag.
Right.
And that's just my name. So like I'm very strong with that. And then you'll catch me at a show where I'm telling my story and doing more of my R&B-ish kind of music and like parts of my life, doing them in chronological order. Gotcha. And so it's a different vibe, but it's also the same person. But you get to see two different sides of me that eventually meet in the middle, which is my new project coming out, Superhuman 2: The Evolution. So it's like a complete mixture of both, and it's insane.
Dude, so, and I've heard like Superhuman, the first one.
Yeah.
And it was next level. Like there's some tracks on there, man. There's some good songs on there. And coming from, you're from Portland, right? So coming from this area, I feel, coming from my heart, I feel like there's some tracks on there that are like really like real commercial. They have that feel that are like, these are some big tracks. And I don't feel like there's been like the exposure yet. Like people don't even know, right? Because you've done some touring, right? How much touring have you done?
I definitely have done like a Northwest tour, pretty strong one on a different couple of artists that I've worked with in the past. We did like, from, Spokane, Seattle, Tacoma, Portland, and then like Salem, Eugene, Medford, like that. I've done that.
Okay.
I've done some shows in Cali. I haven't really done any East Coast tours really like that, but I did a lot of shows in Atlanta when I lived there back in 2014. So that was really cool. And then lots of shows in Canada as well.
Right.
So
that's where I was gonna go.
Yeah.
How was that? Canada? How did they receive you?
Man, so Canada is like one of the most welcoming and loving places I've ever been. I had no idea that it would be that way.
Right.
And so like I heard all the stories all the time, like, oh, come to Canada, like it's all love and this and that. And I know there's like hate everywhere. So I was just like, how are they gonna perceive me there? And I hadn't even I hadn't, like, it was like going to a whole new place with people who don't know who I am. And so I got discovered by this guy up there named Dollar D on Facebook. And, we started exchanging music and stuff. And I sent some hooks to him. And that's how I became familiar with Canada. And then I got my passport and went up there. And so that kind of started this whole new thing, like, for me in my life and my music.
Right.
And so when I did my first show there, it was just like, people were like, oh my gosh, like, who is this guy? Like, where'd he come from?
Right.
I'm like, I'm from Portland, from the States. Like, I'm just doing my thing.
Something that's interesting about that too, you're saying that, I was hearing the other day that, in America, we have freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. I've heard, maybe I don't know all the facts on it, but I've heard that, like, Canada, like, you can actually get in trouble for some of your content.
Yeah.
For, like,
providing
the wrong content to the community.
They don't play.
They don't play that.
They don't play that, like, inciting violence. And, for example, I was on the Max, the other day on the light rail, and there was this kid, he had to be like in his mid-20s or something like that. And he had on a MAGA sweatshirt, a hoodie, a red hoodie, Make America Great Again. And I was just kind of like, my thing is, if that's what you want to wear, hey.
Do you think that Kanye may have had some influence on that?
With
his action?
Not on that person. I think that person literally, like, already supports Trump, and that's
got
his own,
you. It was his thing.
Yeah. And as far as Kanye, that's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother topic.
But he had the sweater on, and so, I'm just sitting there, like, I seen it, and then I was like, okay. And I sat down, and then I would, like, look to the side, and he would, like, walk over into my view, like, into my line of sight. And so I'm just maybe I'm just tripping. So I turn, set another seat. He comes back, and I'm just like, okay. And then I noticed he had this knife, like this big knife inside of a knife holder, clipped to his pocket. So I'm like, so you want the knife to be seen? You want to be seen with this sweater on?
Right.
It's just. And we just saw it in the news and media about the guy who was in a bar in Portland who got beat up because he was, like, starting fights with people and had on a MAGA hat, and he tried to say people were beating him up because of the hat, but he got caught on camera yelling at people trying to start a fight. So I feel like there's people doing that so they can catch people on camera, like, and it looks like, oh, they're beating them up because they support Trump. Absolutely not. It's because
you're being rude.
Yeah, you're trying to start a fight. So I made a post on Facebook. I took a picture of him and made a post on Facebook. And even when I got off the Max, he stood by the door and he was like this. He did this, like,
Right.
And he wasn't even getting off. So it was like, you want me to fight you. I know you do.
He's trying to go
viral. I'm not
viral.
Gonna do it. Yeah, it's like,
I'm doing it for the Vine.
Exactly. I just ignored it, and it was just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the things we deal with right now. Like, and so, back to the point, you can't do stuff like that in Canada. They'll arrest you fast. Like, you're not about to come up here with that.
Yeah, some
you know what I mean?
Stuff,
yeah, like it's crap, man. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, and it makes sense, right? Because, like, we want to be safe. We want to feel comfortable. We want, you know what I'm saying? We don't need all that hate.
No, man. And clearly, like, racism has been going on for many, many years. But the sad part is, when you look at it, it's like around 55 years ago was when black people could vote and segregation kind of ended. That's, like, not that long ago if you think about the span of life. So it's just like, wow, like, you know what I mean? So, and I feel like once Trump got elected, all of the closet racists came out of nowhere, like, oh, it's time to rally now and, make America great again. That's like the new swastika, in my eyes. So I'm just like...
Would you say that it's fair to say that that's kind of maybe as a community, as a, your brothers and sisters being black, having the community, would you say that that's, like, felt amongst other peers, like, in conversation? Do you feel that way too?
Yes, like, sure. Okay. African American community, Latino community. There's even a lot of white people I know who are just like, we don't support that.
Yeah, we ain't with that.
Like, that's hate.
Yeah,
like,
we ain't trying to spread the hate.
And we know that by him taking that and branding it, that it turns that into another thing to, incite war and fights and stuff and make people angry, and it's just like, why?
Would you say though that it's fair for us to say that not everybody that's wearing the Make America Great shirts or hats has that same kind of context to it?
Oh, very
fair.
Know, like very fair. I think there's people who just support Trump because he's a businessman.
Right.
They think he's really smart and can, economically change America and really put us in a better standing. There's people who probably don't have a racist bone in their body and they support Trump. They'll wear the hat. Right. They'll wear the apparel. And I don't want to put everybody in one group.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Because unfortunately, like for example, when I got on that Max, I have my hat, my equality hat on.
Right.
And so the average person who doesn't agree with homosexuality will look at my hat and be like, oh, well, he's this and he's that, and they'll be judgmental. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the same thing if you walk onto the Max, you see somebody with that on, you're going to be like, oh, he must be racist because he supports Trump.
I feel like there's almost an opportunity there, right? So you could almost have a mesh, and I'm sure it's out there. Somebody's probably already came up with a hat that's shows equality,
right?
But then is also sharing and supporting our president, and it feels like and this is just coming from my side, right? In my mind, I feel like it's almost like because you want to support your president, right? Because it's American pride. You're proud of your country, right? Yeah. You're proud of what we do. Right. Maybe not everything, because there's some things that I would say maybe I'm not proud of. I see and I'm like, oh wait, hold up, But as a whole, I think what we have done and where we have came from, I think that we mean well. You feel me?
Yeah.
And so I think that there's definitely a space there that's. Man, it's just weird times.
It's very weird times, man. And I feel like, people wouldn't feel the way they felt about him if he didn't jump on social media saying the crazy things he's saying, if there weren't, Hispanic kids locked away in cages at the border. Right. And there's reports of a lot of those kids dying, a lot of those kids being sexually molested. That sucks, man. It's hurtful to even know that that's happening to children. Right. And then look at, all of the tsunami and the storm that happened in the Bahamas and all these people trying to escape. And what are we going to do? We need food, we need water, we need shelter. Right. And they're getting kicked off ferries and can't board planes because they don't have the proper, ID or whatever. And it's just really? People are in need right now. We're going to turn them away.
Bro.
It's nuts.
It's interesting you're saying that right now because I've always felt like for a long time now, that two sides to it. One is that if nobody teaches you, then you don't know. You know what I'm saying? You never are aware of it. And so I really feel in my heart that as a world, as people of this earth, on this planet, that maybe a group or even an individual that can have the tongue that can actually share that message. I really feel with the way communication is and how technology allows us to hold people accountable and how you have to be on top of your game, right? I really feel it might be time to just step up and say, you know what, as adults, we're not going to deal with it anymore.
Absolutely.
Nobody should be starving. Yeah. Nobody shouldn't have a roof. Nobody shouldn't have, not have the ability to be warm. That shit's.
It's simple.
Old.
It's simple, and a person with that kind of power could literally change that overnight and be like, you know what, let them in. Let's take care of them. There's refugees who enter into Canada, and they're like, here's $2 million.
Right.
Start your life. Here's a better life for you. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Imagine that you come from this place where you're scared for your life every day of being murdered, having your kids raped, and you walk into this country and they're like, hey, welcome to a better life. Here's $2 million and, you're set for life. It's just why can't we do that?
Right.
What's stopping us from doing that same thing and helping people? Yeah. But obviously we have a president who's locking kids in cages and turning away people who are dying from hurricanes. So it's sad, but that's I want to help be a part of that change and use my music and platform to, do something different.
And I believe that, it doesn't matter who's president. I believe that with the technology and with the ability to communicate all around the world now, I believe it's coming. I think we are all seeing signs of it, and and I think it's pretty obvious, like, because he Trump is president now, and that's his approach to it, and I think that in a weird way, as Americans, I think we were ready to stir it up.
Yeah.
And so adding someone like Trump stirs it up.
Oh my gosh.
So then it exposes exposes all these little things that are kind of hidden, and especially when we talk about like the racism thing, right? It's sometimes, once again, I feel like it's that education, right? So like, how long do you say, about 55 years ago was when people were segregated?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's literally less than a lifetime ago.
Right.
You feel me? So it's easy to say that there's probably a chance that my grandmother or my grandfather could potentially have been what today's society would call racist. There's a chance that that's a reality. Do I know? Did I see any of it? No, but that's because I wasn't raised around my grandparents. So I didn't see it. But it's highly likable that could have been. And I believe that people are that way because of fear.
Absolutely.
It's always fear.
Fear of the unknown. When you don't, you don't, just like being gay, like people who don't agree, either they're taught to not accept people for who they are because, their parents or whoever raised them feels like they'll turn out that way if they have gay friends or whatever. Either that, or they just don't know. They don't understand, and they're not fully educated on what it means to be someone who's gay or lesbian or part of the LGBTQA plus community. So it's just kind of like, it starts at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's up to us to change it.
Right. As a people.
Yeah.
I was gonna say as an American, but I mean, as a people.
We the people.
We the people, man. It's because it's the future.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's really like selfish to like try to say one race is superior, and we constantly fall into that battle because it's easily. If sad. People are like, oh, you look exactly like me, so guess what? We must run this together. No, that's some stupid shit, man.
Yeah.
And I came, through my life, I was in the military, and I was a military police officer, and when I was in there, man, there was no color. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was every single background.
Right.
You would, your brothers and sisters in arms came from every single background.
Right.
And you could, maybe somebody would have that hint as an individual, but I'll tell you what, the government didn't give a shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They weren't like, hey, you know what, we're sending these orders and only part of you are going.
Yeah.
Because you're white, you're going.
Right.
Or that was not that wasn't happening. It was nobody gave a shit.
Right.
Listen, you got the order, it didn't matter the color of your skin, you were going.
Right.
And that's how it works, right? And so I think that it's I think having this platform the way it is, man, I think that it's changing. So
absolutely, man, more people are speaking up. I feel like in the African American community, there's people who people are ready for change, and they're ready for a positive change, and not just, well, we're going to fight fire with fire. It's like, no, like, nobody can tell me that I'm inferior or they're like my superior, because I'm a descendant of royalty. Like, I know where I come from. I know who my ancestors were and what they stood for, and where they came from, and they came from royalty. So it's like, we weren't just like slaves all of our lives.
Right. You don't just wake up.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like, when you're educated, you understand certain things and you go off of that. Now, how you handle it is what gives you the path of, where you go. But I'm just not about violence and, fighting people. It's just like, I just rather use my platform to make a positive change and do something different. So.
Yeah. And it's that, like, consciously aware of it, right? Because it's like they say, when maybe all of a sudden maybe you hit the lottery, and then they're like, oh man, that guy's got a big head now.
Right.
It's kind of like that, right? Because it's like being aware of your background being royalty, right? It's like you're like, yeah, I want to be proud of that, but I don't want to like let it blow up my head, and now all of a sudden I have to be a dick to you, or I have to dictate you and control you. I just want to let you know that, like, hey man, we're in this shit together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's where we're at. And I think that it's becoming hard to navigate those waters and understand, because I mean, as an example, I was at Comic-Con, and I was helping pull security this year there, and an individual that was there, I didn't realize, I was just moving along, and I said, her. She doesn't, what's the word, recognize, what's the word?
Identify as.
Identify. Yeah. She identifies as a he or him. And I didn't know, and his approach to it was, he didn't say nothing to me. He just let it happen. But then I kind of heard it in conversation. So then I was like, well, hey man, like, what's up? Talk to me, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And so, but even the way that he chose to take it was not rude.
Right.
He was very open to it. And he was like, hey man, it's cool, I understand. Because you wouldn't know by looking.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And that's what it was about.
It's definitely about learning. I'm still learning, being a direct part of the LGBTQ, A+ community. I'm still learning things, and like how to address people and stuff. It's hard for me. It's to remember certain things.
Right.
I have a friend, who is trans, and one day
he's a homie.
But she's right, and so
right.
I was like, oh bro, something at the show, and he was like, no, sis. See, even now I keep saying he,
I know,
because
I just did it.
I have to like, and
reprogram
so
it.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's not anything bad. Like, I'm not like trying to do that on purpose. It's just I'm still working on myself and knowing that I identify as a man.
Right.
I identify as he, him, his, because I'm a man.
Right.
But I'm gay and I like men, so that's just how that works.
Bro, since we're on that topic, I think it's very interesting, because you had spent a lot of your life, right? Pursuing women, right?
Yeah. Yep. 27 years.
27 years. So I think it's definitely worth us talking about. About your approach to letting everybody know.
Oh my God.
Right? Because I was like,
oh man.
And so I think it's fair. Let's share that.
Yeah.
And then
Okay. So basically, I was involved with somebody that was a producer, and we met in Eugene back in like 2005, because I was on a record label out there in Eugene. I had some bros out there that we would kick and go to parties and stuff like that. And I was, 19, 20 years old. So I meet this guy out there. He's making beats, and the beats were like, and it was like a split second like meeting. I'm like, oh, beats are cool. Hit me up when you start making better beats.
Right.
In not a rude way, just like, And so then, all these years pass by. 2013 rolls around. This guy hits me up on Facebook, like, oh, what's up, man? It's been a long time. Remember me? And at this point, he's living in North Carolina. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, what's up, bro? Yeah, you still making beats? Let me hear some. And he sent me one, and it was amazing. So I was like, oh, you didn't came up. Like, let's work together. So we started doing beats back and forth, and, he'd send me beats, and I would, like, record songs to him and send them back, and we were hella vibing. And then he started hitting on me. And so at this time, I wasn't in a relationship with my ex-girlfriend. So I was, but still very cautious, because I was never planning on coming out. So I was just kind of like, how does he even know that I'm like that? Like, at the time, I considered myself bi. And so I was just like, no, like he's tripping. Like, I'm not even gonna, fall into that. And so the more he did it, the more it piqued my interest.
Right.
So then I just fell into the trap, started talking back and forth. And then he's like, yo, I'm going to come to Portland. And then he came to Portland, and then he ended up moving in with me. And so we were like roommates, but we were doing music together, and we were like messing around. And so then I like broke stuff off, like, yo, like, I can't do this no more. Like, it's starting to get too like close to home, and it's too much. Then I got with my ex-girlfriend, and we had been off and on for like 6 years. And so it got to a point where he and another friend of mine, this chick that I did music with, they started being really cool together.
Yeah.
And so whenever she would get like upset with me, she would say things like, I know too much. I know way too much, and I just, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
She's like holding it on.
Yeah, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it wasn't clicking to me. And then I found out they were like in cahoots, and like they became really good friends. They were like besties, going out together, doing stuff, and so he was telling her all of our business.
Right.
And so then, she had got mad one time, made this post about me being gay and me and Morgan having an affair, this and that. And so I never cheated on my girlfriend with him because we were always broken up whenever me and him like messed around. But it was still like, I mean, there's no way around the fact that like, I would break up with her and then me and him were together. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I felt really bad about it. And so it came to a point where we were together, me and her were together. And I moved to Atlanta because I wanted to pursue my music down there. I moved there with my cousin. And so I got the opportunity to go on a TV show, Divorce Court.
Next level.
And I was like, you know what? We should just go on this show. Mainly, I want to go on for exposure, just to be like, I'm a rapper on national TV. And, I'm a rapper, this and that. My name's Roulette Delgato, blah, blah, blah. Just for the views and to get people to bring more attention to my music and like clickbait and stuff like that. And so not knowing that was going to be one of the most pivotal moments of my life. And I basically, there was a part on, they gave us the compatibility test back in production. And one of the last questions was, what's something that you would want to tell your significant other before walking down the aisle? And I don't know what possessed me to write it, but I was like, I'm on the fence about my sexuality. And it was like, I think it was like meant to happen, because to this day, I can't tell you why I decided to write that.
Right.
But I did. And so in production, they're like, hey, you don't have to talk about it. Don't worry about it. We won't even bring it up. I'm like, okay, great, because I don't know why I even said that.
Yeah.
So during taping, we're going through the whole show, and it's funny, and we're getting laughs and stuff, and it's great. And then towards the end, the judge, she's like, I feel like what you're going through has more to do with your personal life than what you're saying she's doing to you. So why don't you tell her what you told me? I'm not sure why you want to talk about it here, but obviously you feel like this is a good place to do it. So tell her what you told me. Mind you, I hadn't talked to this judge at all.
Right.
We never had a conversation. It's my first time really seeing her.
Right. She's like, hey, what's up, homie?
Yeah. So I said, you know what?
All up in your business.
All in my business. So I just said, you know what? This is the perfect time to tell everybody. And then I did. And then I just said, the reason why we're going through what we're going through is because, honestly, I'm bisexual. And, the whole courtroom was just like, oh my gosh, the scandal. And so, it was just crazy. But I definitely regret how I did that, because I embarrassed her on national TV.
Right.
And, I can't apologize enough. And I know that really hurt her. And it definitely tore me up too. But it was really hard for me to do that, because I knew what that would do to my career in Portland.
Right.
Which it did. A lot of people that I worked with who at one point were like, oh, Roulette Delgato, one of the hottest rappers in Portland. I rock with Roulette. I support him. I got his back.
Yeah.
All that faded.
And on that, like when even like our relationship, so we had kind of been hanging out, right? Before that, like working together, like some of your shows, like I was there trying to support that, be around all that, we all same community.
Right.
And I think even it kind of put you in a weird spot, right? Too, in your mind, because you were like, oh, because now you're on the defense, right?
Yeah.
Because even like when I said, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? And I had already seen the airing, and I was like, oh, what ifs? I'm moving on, right?
Yeah.
Like, teach their own.
Right.
And, we're in the land of the free. That's how it works, right? And so I feel like even towards me, right, you were like, hey, man, I just want to let you know, like, almost like you had to justify it, right? Or not justify, but explain yourself.
It felt like that a lot, because people, that's like what they got immediately, like, it was like, oh, Roulette wants to come around me is because he likes me or something. Yeah. And it wasn't always like that. In some cases, yeah, maybe it was like that,
Right.
but not all of them. I wasn't like every person, every guy I'm around, I want to sleep with or be with because I'm gay. Like that's
Right.
not the way that works. It's just the fact that just because I came out, I still want to work with people and do
Yeah,
stuff,
you
but
still want to keep them moving.
people were just like, we don't want to be associated with the gay guy. We don't want people to think we're gay, this and that. But
Right.
my thing is, I'm still going to show up and wrap circles around people. I'm still going to show up and really give my talent and show people
Right.
what I can do.
It's still your talent.
Yeah, you know.
Talent.
So
Speaks
at
for
the end of the
itself.
day, I'm always going to shine regardless. So that whole situation has like, I've like evolved into this like phoenix. Like I've turned into this completely different artist who is like carefree, loving myself unconditionally. Like I just, I am doing my rapping, doing my singing, performing at benefit concerts, most recently for the YWCA in Vancouver, Washington. And just loving myself, man, doing plus size modeling. And I want to inspire other people to just love and be themselves. So,
Right.
like, I had to do that. I had to come out and do that because it was life changing. And now I can inspire others and be a voice for people who don't have one.
You know, you have a powerful lyric, and I'm trying to remember exactly how you say it. It was if something about like who you're gonna be.
Yeah, if you can't be yourself, tell me who you're gonna be.
Yeah. So what is it? If you can't tell one more time.
If you can't be yourself, tell me who you're gonna be.
And that's real. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
And a lot of like even through those hardships, like you documented that by making songs and sharing that and being artistic about that. And man, with the being born in a prison, right? Going through that. That's heavy.
Yep.
That's some things, and I at some point I wanted to dive into all that. Maybe we could save that for another time. Where are we at, time wise?
39 minutes.
Oh yeah, we're doing it. We're good. So, but the other thing is like right now you're doing.
Actually 13 minutes.
Okay.
Oh.
We have 13 minutes. Okay.
Oh.
So, but right now, what's going on right now? What's next? What's happening?
Man. Okay, so right now music has evolved so much. I have a new single right now that I've put out. I am promoting, shooting the video pretty soon. It's called Boy, which is BOY, which is an acronym for Body on You. And It's about body positivity. It's about loving yourself no matter what and just being who you are, whether you're, skinny, bigger, tall, short, black, white, no matter who you are, just loving yourself. And so me being somebody who's a bigger guy and also, have jumped into plus size modeling, like I do a lot of shoots where I did a naked shoot that was like amazing. And I posted my pictures online and people were like losing it.
You know what's interesting about that is I don't know if you recall a conversation a while ago that I had told you as a good publicity stunt. Remember I said, let's get a billboard.
Yeah.
You remember this now, right?
Bro, you're absolutely right. Like, I feel like that, there are a lot of things back then I don't think I was ready for or ready to hear.
Yeah.
And I think once I got a little older and once I, again, started loving myself unconditionally, it's like, wow, the world is so big. There's so many things that you're blind to because you just don't want to see it and you're not open to it, you know what I mean? And so now that I'm, just really loving myself and in this space where I am free mentally, physically, I'm just doing what I want to do. You know what I mean? It's actually really hot in here right now. So I feel like I'm just not going to wear a shirt because
I'm
I'm going to cool off. I don't want to because you know what? I feel like personally.
Need some help there?
Yeah.
Let's hold it. I'll hold it. There we go. Got the microphone. Do your thing. There we go. There he is, the big boy.
Thank you. See, I feel better like this because, so I did a show. Let me put this right here, actually.
How we doing on the sound? Can you hear him still?
Oh yeah.
All right. He's good.
Can you see my hat? This is my equality hat that I love so much. One of my faves, but I'm gonna leave it off though.
Look at that big bear.
so I can show my blondage going on. So I did a show at the Paris Theater last week, and the show was a fundraiser from my bro Ryan Reed, who runs Half-Life ENT. And so it was me, it was him, Ryan Reed, it was Kanitis, Max Payne, Cole Bones, and my sister Emerald Green, and also Cara Maria. We all came together and we did this benefit concert to raise money for the YWCA, empowering women and stopping racism. And so it was definitely a really good show, mad successful. And so I was debating the whole time, like for like 2 weeks. I had this vest, this blue vest. It was really dope, a Sean John vest. I'm like, what shirt am I gonna wear underneath? I wanted to wear a Bad Bear Society shirt, you know, but then I was just like, you know what? The day before the show, I was like, I'm not gonna wear a shirt.
Right.
I'm just not gonna wear one.
Fuck it.
And put my vest on. I zipped it right at the bottom, so it was like a plunge almost, and my belly button was out. Like it was just great. And then I felt good, man. Like it feels good to just
It's like you got
be
it out,
free.
right? You
Like
were
I got
"Fuck,
it
I'm
out.
free."
Like I came out of the closet in 2014. I think that was like breaking out of a mental prison. And so now I'm like breaking out of this physical prison, which is like my own body and my own thinking. Like,
Yeah.
I can't, you know, be out here naked with my shirt off. Like people are gonna stare. People are gonna feel like this, feel like that. I don't give a damn. Like I am always gonna be me. Whether I lose the weight, whether I gain the weight, I'm gonna be myself. So I don't want people to feel like they just can't be themselves. Like I love me.
Bro, the Shambhala, it's like they have the sacred path of the warrior, and one of the philosophies that they talk about in there is like the butterfly. So they explain that as humans we live within a cocoon, and we stay there because we feel comfortable.
Right.
We feel comfort there, and so anytime we see a little bit of light, we want to retract back in. We want to be back in that comfortable space. When really, if we're going to be our big, beautiful self, we need to fly. We need to get that haziness off our eyes, so that way we can truly see.
Exactly.
And we have to lean into that fear, because that fear is what's restricting us. You ain't ever going to change your life, man, if you stay
Absolutely
in
not.
that fear.
Absolutely
you
not.
going to stay at home?
And
like, I'm spending my whole life here.
Exactly. And I'm just in a space now
Netflix.
where, you know, I love myself too much to hide anymore. Like I hid under a rock after I came out. You know, I was still like, oh, I'm bisexual. I still like girls, you know, to keep like 1 foot in the closet. So people ask, I'm like, well, I still like girls and this and that. And so then I was like, you know what? I'm gay. I like men. That's just who I am. But now I'm in a space where I'm like, you know what? No more labels.
Right.
I am who I am.
Correct.
I might like girls sometimes. I might like guys sometimes. Like that's just, I
Don't
don't
label me.
No more labels.
Yeah.
I just am who I am. That's who I'm gonna be. So
Right, because I was gonna. That's something that I was gonna touch on, because I was like, you know, I've kind of like the N-word in my mind, right? Like, I feel sometimes like if I say it with the wrong tone, the G word, you know, if I say an individual's like, hey, then I feel like, whoa, wait, hold up, because I'm not trying to offend nobody, but I'm like, okay, well, how do I speak? Because I want to be a genuine person, and I'm just, you know, curious. Are you gay? You know, but now I feel like, just like you saying, the label thing, man, is it's almost like we put a negative or a positive context by labeling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like one way or the other. And it's really interesting when we think about like freedom of speech, right? Because freedom of speech, the men and women that have died for freedom of speech.
right.
Fuck, man.
Martin Luther King,
Fuck.
Malcolm X, you know,
Fuck.
Rosa Parks, who, you know,
And
stood her ground, and
Right.
it's just so many people
For that equality.
for equality for all of us. And now I feel like, you know, we've come so far that there's a lyric in one of my songs. I did a remix to Biggie Smalls' Juicy, and the song is called No Apologies. And I basically touch on a lot of the stigmas in the gay community and how people treat you because you're gay and things like that. And one of my lyrics in the song, I said, what did I say? I say y'all just don't understand gay is the new black and y'all the Ku Klux Klan. And a
Right.
lot of people are like, gay is not the new black. You can't say that. You
Right.
can't. But what they're missing, the fact I said that because in my mind, in my opinion,
It's got
being
that.
gay is like you're being treated how we were treated back in the day for being black.
Right.
You can't be that. People don't want to stand by you. They don't
Yeah.
want to, they don't want to deal with you or be around you. It's wrong. It's wrong. For a long time, it was wrong to be black.
Right.
So I related because I'm a gay black man in America. That was my title for a long time. I'm a gay black man in America, and people are treating me like, I got shit on my face. They don't want to be around me. They don't want to, they want to exclude me from things and treat me like shit. So my thing is, okay, I'm going to be me, but I'm also going to show people too, like, this is what we go through every day.
Correct.
Just
Yeah,
like-
this is how we're living in the free world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I said that line, it's like, gay's the new black, meaning like now we're being treated and being segregated.
Right.
We can't have rights and all these things. And y'all the Ku Klux Klan because you guys are with your pitchforks and your,
And it's-
slander trying to tear us down.
And it's a society thing, because like, once again, back to the military, because that's somewhere where I served. In the military, it's a don't ask, don't tell. Meaning as, like, if you're a woman who's into women, that's fine. You don't, it's the amplifying it, I think, in that setting is what causes maybe the turmoil, right? So I think in society it's a little bit different, right? Because as the civilian side, it needs to be a free space. If that's truly what we stand for as Americans, we stand for freedom, then that's freedom of expression.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, allow that. Because imagine all the creativity that comes out of that. Imagine the architecture that
So
can come out of
much.
that. I mean, that's what allows us to expand and go into spaces that and probably mushrooms or LSD, right? That's what they
Right.
say.
When
you go to,
your
like,
brain is literally unlocking itself. and,
right,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, man. That's how I feel, man. It's like once you're free, there's so many things that start happening, so many doors open. Like for me, it was like coming out, a lot of people turned their backs on me and treating me a little different, but so many doors open for me and so much more support came from that now. Like I have this
Right.
crazy support system, this crazy social media following, like which I'm building every single day. But
Yep.
so many people support who I am and what I do, and they just love to see me like living my best life.
Right,
Out
dude.
here naked.
Dude, and it's...
And people are just like, do you
Get it.
get it? Like,
Get it. Let's
so
go.
yeah.
And it's, man, it's, I am almost like stretching for the words because it's people, and it's always been through history, people are always drawn to genuine. If you're being genuine, that shit makes sense, man. Like, fuck everything else. You know what I'm saying? If you're being real and you're just being you and you're approaching it, and I mean, even comedians, right? They have that ability to approach a situation. I mean, even along the lines where I was saying, like, with the individual at the Comic-Con.
Right.
It was me just being genuine and being like, hey, I don't know how to approach that, or hey, I don't know how do I talk on that. It's me wanting to learn, not
right,
being closed off and saying, oh, you got to be a girl because
right.
that's what you were born.
Yeah.
Being ignorant, right? And it takes us as a society to realize that we are free. And so when people try to restrict one way or the other, all they're showing is ignorance.
Absolutely. People get lost in the conversation, I think, a lot too with trans people, and they don't really understand it, but that's just the thing. They just don't understand it. So they will, if people are
Fear.
scared, okay, the
Look at that,
fear
we
of the
nailed it.
unknown, man. You're scared of what you don't understand, and it makes you nervous and uncomfortable and shit like that, but people are who they are. That's just, at the end of the day. I saw a conversation on Facebook today about Lil Uzi Vert. Somebody posted a picture of him. He had on this like shirt. It was kind of like a sweater, but it was like knitted with like red edges, and then there was like a unicorn on the front and like these pink pants. And somebody was like, "Oh man, look at he's supposed to be a gangster out here, and he's dressing like this. And they're trying to emasculate the black man, the emasculation of the black race." And I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?
Right.
This guy is into fashion.
Right.
He wants to wear something fashionable that's like above and beyond what you think is fashion. This is a whole new era of people and a whole new industry that you're not even exposed to yet.
Right, you
but
haven't seen it yet.
Instead, you're
Don't
like, oh, well, you know, this is I'm uncomfortable, this and that. Look at Prince, for example. Prince was like, wore some of the gayest stuff I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Some people say he wasn't gay. I beg to differ.
Right.
But that's not my business.
Right.
Okay. My thing is, look at him. He's a legend, and he got praised for that. But nowadays, because somebody does rap music and they decide to dress a certain way, they're like, oh, they're trying to emasculate the black man. Like, how?
Right.
For dressing, like, being fashionable is crazy. So, you know, people don't always agree with me, and I don't care, but that's just the way it goes.
You got a show coming up tonight, don't you?
I got a show tonight. I'm rocking out at Fuego in Hillsboro with Fatboy SSE, who is another crazy, successful social media star, and I'm meeting him for the first time. And so he's another person who runs around with no shirt and don't care. You know, a big boy. That's the way it goes.
Well, then let's wrap this up, man. Let's go out to the show. Hey,
thank you for having me, man.
I wanna thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
You know, and supporting we the people.
Absolutely.
We can talk about the shit, man. I look forward to like having you on in the future, diving more into like some of these topics and just like, just finding it, man. Maybe, you know, giving that content to people and, you know, and helping, right?
Absolutely,
helping,
man. Absolutely.
Awareness. How do we talk through this crap? Right?
Exactly. It's all about helping the people, man, in the community. So make sure you guys check me out on social media. I'm always posting positive things, positive music. That's my lane. So my new single, Boy Body on You, is out on iTunes and all streaming services everywhere. Social media, Facebook, Roulette Delgato, Instagram, Roulette_Delgato, Twitter, Roulette Delgato, Snapchat, Roulette_Delgato. It's all Roulette Delgato. Check me out. Get in tune with the big boy. We doing major things, so let's get it.
All right. Let's get out of here, man. Let's get that thing on.